The roller coaster ride has come to an end as the Nashville Predators put on a show in their final game at Bridgestone Arena this season, but can't get it done against the Ducks.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Williams. There wasn't much to play for in the Predators' final regular season game against the Ducks after being eliminated from playoff contention on Monday, but the season finale was a good time. Stamkos and Forsberg flirted with hat tricks, and Cole O'Hara recorded his first NHL point in his first NHL game, but the Predators just couldn't come out with the dub in their final outing of the year. Before we get into it, you can see I have this hat on here. JD Young over at Locked On Sharks. I posted that the giveaway tonight at the game was these hats, and everybody in the arena got them in fan appreciation night as well. I should add to the giveaways this season for the Predators. Elite. I mean, we got so much stuff, especially the media, that when we come to our seats, the communications team of the Predators is just awesome, and that whatever the giveaway is that night, they instantly give it to the media members. So anytime we go to our seats, all that stuff is already there. So the stuff we've got this season has been fantastic. And the final one this season was for these hats, and everybody in the arena got these hats. And we'll get to the hats in just a second. But JD Young over Locked On Sharks, I posted about it, and he's like, I bet you won't do the whole episode with this hat on. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I don't care. So the hat is going to be staying on for the entirety of this episode if you guys are watching it on YouTube. If you guys want to see me in this goofy hat, do the whole episode in it, go ahead. I'll reference it again because it will come up again here. But it was an entertaining night, to say the least. It was a little bittersweet here. Would have been nice if they could come out with the win. But at the end of the day, this kind of encapsulated what this season has been. They lost 5-4 to the Anaheim Ducks, their final game of the season. Here they had the game. They had a chance here in the third period to make it competitive, take this to overtime, and really have a special moment here. And it was just a penalty down the stretch here that really just spoiled it in the end. It kind of, I don't want to say ruined the night because it was still kind of a fun night, but it just kind of soured it a little bit, put a little tang on it as well. But we'll talk about it because it was a night of theatrics. There's a lot that happened in the final game of the regular season that made things interesting here. We'll start off with that one of the guys that got called up from Milwaukee, Cole O'Hara, got to make his NHL debut, and the other guy, Aiden Fink, did not. We were finding out in kind of the earlier parts of the day that Andrew Brunette was kind of dancing around the whole idea of Aiden Fink playing and Cole O'Hara playing and being like, oh, we don't know if they're going to play yet. It's a game time decision. We'll see what happens in warmups. And it came off to a lot of people, myself and other media members, that, it seems like he's really just dancing around this and he's elongating it. And we're like, Andrew Brunette's not usually one to he's a nice guy, but not one to joke around as much and just keep things dwelling on for so long. So we're like, why is he doing this in the last game of the year? We later found out that Aiden Fink had some visa issues and could not play. And the way, I don't want to get conspiratorial about it and allude to stuff and not know the facts, but from what it seems like is that his status in coming to the NHL and signing an entry-level contract, his status of employment changes. I don't know. From what I've heard, he was playing on a tryout when he's in Milwaukee. That's different than having a full-time job and having a contract with a team. So when that status got updated with Nashville and signing his ELC, that changed why he was in the United States on a visa. He is Canadian. In Penn State, he was there as a student. So, I mean, those details are important as to why people are here or what's going on at the time and their career and why they're in the United States at the time. And that didn't get updated or didn't get updated quick enough or whatever happened. Either way, unfortunately, Aiden Fink missed out on his NHL debut. It really stinks just on paperwork technicality that he had to miss out on this. It's rough. I feel bad for the kid. He still seemed like he was in good spirits. We kind of ran into him after the game in the halls and such, and he seemed still pretty happy. He was excited for Cole O'Hara, but I mean, this is a kid that was playing so well in Milwaukee, really picking up momentum towards the end of the year, had a chance to get into the final game here and just have a moment, and just it's just gross that the paperwork just messed it up. It's gross, but the nice part is Cole O'Hara got to have his NHL debut, got to have his rookie lap during warmups, and got to take in all the festivities, and got to record his first NHL point in this game too on a pretty solid assist. He got to skate on a line with Steven Stamkos and Ryan O'Reilly, and had the primary assist on a Stamkos goal. Basically, moved the puck right into the slot. Stamkos was there and put it right in the net to tie the game at 1-1. O'Hara had a lot of family in town too to watch this game, making the last minute trip from over in Alberta. I believe that is where he's from, over in Western Canada, out to Nashville, and got to see him get his first NHL point. Stamkos, right after the goal, picked up the puck and gave it over to O'Hara too. And Stamkos, and the big part of that being asked about this game and just throughout in general of the final game of the season here, not much to play for, is just what is there to play for? Who are you playing for? What excitement really is around this final game here? And Stamkos really highlighted that, like, well, we wanted to play for O'Hara. I mean, he's a young kid and wanted to give him his moment, and that's what they did here. So they had a lot of motivation with Cole O'Hara being here and wanting to give him a special moment here. And Steven Stamkos, even he said in his 18th year, he is honored that he gets to be a part of Cole O'Hara's special moment here, something that he's going to remember. O'Hara's going to remember forever. And Stamkos takes pride in that, especially the guy lately that we've been hearing just a lot of, I don't want to say negative talk because that makes it sound condescending, but just it's been rough for him, and just a guy, again, in his 18th year that's wanting to win another cup and compete for another cup. And he was promised playoffs coming to Nashville, and that just hasn't happened since he arrived here. And to have him have a little bit more of a positive talk and talking about this rookie here and giving him his moment, it was good to hear for sure. Speaking of Stamkos, him and Filip Forsberg had a golden moment tonight. That is just so frustrating to walk out of this game with and still have these hats on, because you have a night where everybody in the arena doesn't just have a baseball cap on. They have these giant cowboy hats, as the Nashville locals know. These are big old woo girl hats that, if you guys don't know, anytime you're out on Broadway, you see all the tourists, the girls that are on their bachelorette have these hats on. They're going, woo, we're in Nashville. And these are the hats that sorry, my dog was looking at me when I did that. When they're in Nashville, they're wearing these big old hats, and everybody in the arena had these. You had two players who had 2 goals in the second period, so they had a full 20 minutes left of hockey, and Stamkos had a great opportunity to get the hat trick there of just a feed right out to the front of the net, just him, and I think he just shot it high or just couldn't get the angle on it and went high. But almost a really special hat trick moment with everyone in the arena having a hat to throw, and it just didn't happen. And that's the most, in my opinion, and going into this game, I was kind of a little bit more lax about it and just excited to be there and happy about the whole game in general. I was just kind of frustrated that, like, I can't throw my hat from the 300 level, but just to be able to witness that, it was just sad that it didn't happen. But both had 2 goals, as I mentioned before the third period. Stamkos scored on that Cole O'Hara goal. Then he scored on the power play on a one-timer in the second period to make it 4-3. He had a pair of goals here. With those pair of goals, he ties for third most goals in a single season in Predators franchise history. He ties up with Filip Forsberg from the 2021-2022 season with 43 goals. Did I do that? Yeah, I did that math right. They would be chasing down, I believe, Matt Duchene was in front of him that same year. He had 2 guys that had 40 goals on the year. It's a similar situation this year where you have Stamkos and Forsberg both with 40 goals on the season. Unfortunately, this team is missing the playoffs, and it's kind of shocking to think, how in the world is this team missing the playoffs? 2 40-goal scorers. Heck if I know. Heck if I knew. But then Forsberg got going as well. He scored his first goal of the night on a tip shot from Ryan Ufko from the point to make it 2-1. Just a good play, just good vision by Filip Forsberg here. And just, he got really hot during that streak. He's been a little spotty as of late, but it's just moments like this again, you just realize how much of an elite scorer he is and how much of an elite presence he is. But tipped a shot from Ryan Ufko and traffic to make it 2-1. And then he scored on the rush on the power play, getting a center feed from Luke Evangelista to tie the game at 3-3. This is Filip Forsberg's third straight 70-plus point season. This is the third most goals he's scored in his career at 40 flat. It is the 4th most goals in franchise history as well. He owns the record for most goals scored in a single season in Predators franchise history, I believe, I think that number is 48. But that was another reason why all the guys were kind of getting up to play this game. And that was kind of a question I wanted to ask. Uh, I was thinking about wording it. I couldn't find a way to word it. Not a way condescending. Didn't sound condescending, but Robbie Stanley asked it a little bit more well worded, and Brunette basically said of just getting up for the game and a game that might not count for much and what motivates these guys to get up for this game. They said like, well, these young guys were playing for the time. These older guys were playing for Forsberg and wanting to get Forsberg 240. I mean, he was flirting on it with 2 goals. Didn't know if it was going to happen. He ended up the season at 40 goals flat. So, I mean, it's good that he got this marker. It's good that Stamkos can etch his name in here a little bit into the Predators season. And it would have been nice. I mean, it is really disappointing. I look so goofy with this hat on, y'all. I'm sorry. My focus is kind of like everywhere right now, but like, it is nice that these guys were able to put on a show here. We got a really fun, competitive game here, but it just, oh man, you wish they got the win here. I mean, even in a time where like they're not really competing for anything, you had a disappointing loss to start the week. You have Steven Stamkos just aggravated throughout the entire week. You have guys that are injured. You have Aiden Fink not being able to make his NHL debut. And, a win would have been nice to encapsulate this all, and that it's a bittersweet ending to everything that's happened this year. And we'll detail that at the end of this podcast here in the final segment. But it would have been nice for them to get a win here and stuff. But I just laid out the positive in this game. We're going to talk and lean into, and again, this is the final game of the season that we'll talk about, so we'll really get into it. The negative that happened in this game. They lost the game. Something had to go wrong, and it was more of just the defense, and then UC Saros has not been great here at the end of the season. It's been bad performance from UC Saros. I wouldn't say it was bad, just not great. And then the defense was just rough tonight, but we will get into that more right after the break. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been so simple. That's why Gametime has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast, without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. I pulled up the Gametime app, picked an upcoming NBA game, and had tickets locked in within minutes. Love seeing the all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkout. Being able to see your view from the seat before buying the tickets made the decision easy. Zone deals stood out. Choose the section. Gametime picks the seat, and you save. Great last minute options too, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That is code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today, and remember, it's gametime.com, not gametime.co. Oh, excuse me. It is not .com. It is gametime.co. The NHL playoffs are here, where every shift matters. Every moment is intense, and the pressure is at its highest. Not for the Predators, unfortunately, but there are teams getting into the playoffs here, and we have some good series coming up for sure. And just like performances matter on the ice, it matters off the ice too. That's where Rugiet comes into play. Rugiet offers treatments designed to help get you ready and stay ready when it matters. Their top option, Rugiet Ready, combines clinically proven ingredients in a simple mint that dissolves under your tongue. It works fast, often in about 15 minutes, and can last up to 36 hours. And they also offer Go Long, designed to help with both performance and control. It's all about confidence and feeling like yourself again. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnNHL and get 50% off your ED treatment at RUGIET.com/LockedOnNHL for 15% off. Rugiet, performance medicine for men. All right, it's a fun ad read today. Defense and goaltending. Now we're gonna flip to not me being so happy about everything. The defense and goaltending were bad tonight. They were rough tonight. And the defensive side of the game, you can give credit and say, okay, Roman Josi wasn't there, Nick Hague wasn't there. But the offense was missing Jonathan Marchessault and Eric Halla as well. And the offense played pretty good tonight, too. But the defense, holy Lord, man, it was bad. And my God, I don't know what has happened with UC Saros down this final stretch of the year. And I'm really not saying he's not a bad goaltender. He is not bad on this contract. He's played rough just these final few games down the stretch. You got to look back to the beginning of the year with UC Saros and be like, you got to look at what he's done as a whole this year. He has been critical to keep giving this team chances, keeping them into the playoff competition, what so not. He's been massive towards any sort of success they've had this entire year, completely. And just take that in for what it is. And he's had a rough last few games of the season there. I really just don't agree with the whole he's a bad signing, he's awful, blah, 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 blah with him. He's been massive the entire year. He's just had a really rough end to the season here with 2 bad games against Utah and Anaheim here. And you know what? We're going to break it down one by one with what went wrong with all these goals. The first goal was a cross-ice pass from Ryan Poehling to Cutter Gauthier. Gauthier scored from the left. I believe they're cutting in, and they scored on the left side, the weak side. It's just another example of Saros on this weak side. We saw it a lot in the Utah game, and they've just been exposing it these last 2 games. He has just struggled immensely on that weak side there, that weak side pass. I don't know if he's too low on the net. I don't know if he's not getting over and sliding quick enough, or they get him moving and that allows them to score. But man, he's just been so bad on that weak side pass. And that first goal was an example of it. The second goal was 20 seconds left in the first period, I believe. And it's just the defense getting lackadaisical and just everybody kind of pushing back and being like, oh, we're in a good place right now going into the break. We're just going to heal off and allow the Ducks to really push in the final 30 seconds of the period here. And Jackson Lacombe lets a long shot go. Oh yeah, this was a really bad goal. Let's say long shot go from around the point that goes in 20 seconds left. And it's because every player in gold on the ice was screening UC Saros. And I'm like, and I know I'm giving Saros a lot of slack here. And there's another goal in this game that he definitely should not have allowed, and it was more so on him than anything else. But this goal, I mean, yes, everyone was like, "Oh, it was bad. It was from a far distance," and it was. And Saros didn't see it, but it's because he has 4 or 5 guys standing right in front of him like this. If you look back over the goal and look at where all the Predators guys on the ice are lined up, they are in a direct line of his vision. He was fully being screened by, if not 4 of them at least. I mean, it was a rough goal. He was just fully being screened, and he just didn't see it. And that's the way I see it, and we're going to move on from it. The third goal was this was completely on Saros here. It was a long one-timer shot all the way from the left boards to the left of Saros, and I'm talking like on the boards, maybe a little bit more off of it, on the top of the left face-off circle. He's more so on the left side of the ice than in the slot. Let's say one-timer go and beats Saros' blocker side, and that was a bad goal. I mean, I don't think he was being screened on that. It was a long shot that went in. That was a rough goal, and that was on Saros. We'll put that one on him. I'm not going to make an excuse for him on that one. That was a one he should have had completely. The fourth goal, Mikael Granlund is driving to the net, and this was just bad defending here from top to bottom. Mikael Granlund is able to split the defense between Justin Barron and Adam Wilsby, who were a match made in heck. I don't know if I could say the other variation of heck on this podcast. They were just not good, and Granlund is able to come and split those two, and is able to put Tristan Luno, yes. Sorry, I'm jumbling up my words here. Granlund comes in, gets a really weak shot on net. Luno comes in, is able to put the rebound away. And basically, Barron and Wilsby let Granlund score. Luno score and just let Granlund get to the net. It was just bad defending completely. It was a weak shot by Granlund, and just I don't really blame it on Filip Forsberg because he was the one trailing Luno, and but at the same time, he's not supposed to be the one on them. One of the defensemen are supposed to be on them, and they fully got split by Granlund. And you would think you'd be able to follow up on the rebound guy, but they didn't. And that was just bad defending on the fourth goal. And the fifth goal, which was the game-winning goal, and we'll get into this in depth a little bit more. It was Granlund putting in a rebound. Granlund shot. I keep confusing this, y'all. I apologize. It was another Granlund shot that was put away by Troy Terry on the power play. This was in the final 4 minutes of the game, and the game was tied. You had a opportunity to, at the end of the year, get this game to go to overtime and it be a little bit more exciting, get the fans up a little bit more, and have fun with it. If they won, even if they lost the game in overtime, they'd still get away with a point, and they would be able to have the tiebreaker over the St. Louis Blues. I know it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day in the standings, the Blues finished in front of them, which is crazy to say. But in the final 4 minutes of the game, Tyson Jost is called for a double minor for high sticking, draws blood on Troy Terry. Troy Terry, who scored the game-winning goal, was the one that drew the penalty. And I know we're going to argue about the officiating. Nick Keyser had a great explanation for this because I was up in arms about it. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, the way it happened was Jost had his stick down. Terry was the one that kind of flicked the stick up. The stick went up and hit Terry. And the defense was that Jost could have had better control of his stick because he had two hands on it. If he had one, it might have not been called, but he had two sticks on it. The assumption was that he had better control of it and could not prevent the force from making it go up, and kind of leaned into a little bit more with a weak wrist. But either way, it's a penalty. Just the worst timing ever. Had awful timing that allowed the Ducks to go on and win this game and kind of just ruined the night. And I'm honest, it's not on the Ducks. It's the Predators to blame. Just taking a penalty that late in the matchup and then just giving all the momentum to Anaheim. That they've been doing it all year. Just giving and giving and giving. They're like the giving tree here in Nashville. Just giving points over, giving momentum over, and it just spoiled the whole night. The PK was actually semi-decent tonight. They went 5 for 6 overall. I don't know if that's, again, my conflicted opinions with the PK, and just I don't know how much of a positive it is that, yes, your PK is killing off penalties, but why in the world are you in the box so much? PK went 5 for 6 tonight, but at the end of the day, the one you let in was the one that decided the game. Jost, I feel bad for him because he's been playing well lately. He's been good down the stretch, and it was just a rough play that cost them in the end. Predators had a chance to win, chance to make this fun and competitive, and they just couldn't get it done here. It was just a night that was completely spoiled. Bad defense, not a great outing by UC Saros. Again, the offense was very, very good in this game, very entertaining in this game, but man, if that shows towards the offseason and what may or may not need to be changed, maybe this team needs to start looking at Anaheim and that's a crazy thing to say. I know, I'm aware. Maybe make it a little bit more where you're splitting time 50-50 between Anaheim and Saros, and maybe start looking at, giving Anaheim some starting gigs a little bit more over Saros. Maybe that's what it needs to be. He looks really good at the end of the season here. Saros, not. They're kind of going opposite ways right now, and the defense, it's got to be fixed completely. It's got to be overhauled. I understand Roman Josi didn't play tonight, but man, it was just awful tonight. It's been awful all year. It needs to be cleaned up in the offseason completely, and that needs to be, in my opinion, the biggest assignment for this GM. But when we come back, 2025, 2026 comes to an end. I don't have any sort of script written down for this, so I will recap it in the most entertaining ways I can, because it was a long season and we got so many different storylines, so many different narratives, so many things happened this year. There wasn't anything consistent about this season at all. A lot happened, and we went a lot of different places. But that recap, fun recap, will make it theatrical for y'all. We'll be coming up right after the break. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all that sugar. That's why Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is a classic cotton candy taste that you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and zero sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy, but I can't be eating sweets all day. This is a perfect alternative. The flavor really does bring back that throwback fruity vanilla vibe, and it's surprisingly smooth. I like how convenient it is too. It's just a small portable shot I can grab whenever I need a little pick-me-up. It's become my go-to when I want something sweet without going overboard. Bring on the sweetness with cotton candy 5-hour energy shots, available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everyday Club today and get Locked On Predators with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonpredators.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, so I'm really going off script here, and we'll make it short here. We'll get you guys on your way to start your day. Start the weekend. It's Friday. Get excited, y'all. In recapping this season here, and I can be very theatrical on here. I can be very fun on here. You know what? We're gonna be theatrical and fun here and talking about what this wild year was. So, y'all, let's giddy up. I'm not gonna do that. That sounds so bad. All right. So we start off the year coming on to this. I guess this could be like, if you're listening to this, then I guess it could be a bedtime story, or I guess this could be like your drive to work little audiobook I'm giving to. So once upon a time in Nashville, coming into the season here, and we hear over and over and over again about how last year was a fluke. Last year was not what this team wanted to do. Last year was, we're going to throw it out. We throw it out. We turn it on. This team is set to prove out so much. And, we're fixing the defense here. We got Nick Hague here. We got Nick Perbix here, y'all. We signed Tyson Jost out of the blue. I don't know why we're not moving up younger guys, but it's okay. Joakim Kimmel made the starting roster. He had a massive game in the preseason against the Carolina Hurricanes, laid out a guy and then scored the OT winner. You have Brady Martin here that's going to be leading in the future. And then you have Matthew Wood here. He's starting off the year injured a little bit, but he's going to come back and give us some good minutes. And I mean, all's looking up. This team is ready to go. And they start the first 2 months of the season absolutely dreadfully, in narrowly losing a bunch of games through October and into late November. And, oh, God, some of these matchups, you really come to mind, and just all these one-goal losses. The Montreal one really just sticks with me, of just having the game in the bag and letting Cole Caulfield run away with it, who eventually ended up scoring 50 goals on the year. Impressive for him, too, but just a rough stretch here in the beginning of the year. And nothing really got better in this run. We kept hearing Andrew Brunette saying over and over again, I liked our game, to the point where later on the season, he's like, props to the guys on these teams, thinking that I'm probably crazy saying how well we're playing, and I think things are going to turn around and get better. And they weren't. Things were rough in the beginning of the year. Jonathan Marks just was playing bad. Steven Stamkos had 4 points and was on pace for 20 points in 82 games in the beginning of the year. Everything was chaos. Everything was bad. You get to kind of a turning point a little bit with the global series, or whatever we want to call it, that was out in Sweden. Filip Forsberg gets to go home. 2 games against the Penguins, and the Predators pull off a thrilling overtime winner over the Pittsburgh Penguins in that first game. Then they lay an absolute egg, 4-0 against the Penguins. And you think, and you sit there and be like, this needs to be the turning point of the season. Something needs to happen. Andrew Brunette might get fired. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I had a copy written up for him getting fired. It's still sitting in my drafts because I never had published it at all. But I was very confident that was going to be the end of it, because nothing was getting better. You come off with an embarrassing loss in the global series. You have an entire week off at this time. And the common thought was this was going to be a moment where either Brunette was going to be fired or something was going to happen. Something major of trade was going to happen. And the biggest announcement that came out of that stretch was Joakim Kimmel was sent down to Milwaukee. And that was the major roster move at that time. The Predators continue pushing. Colorado comes into town. They lose 3-0. However, they play a really good game against the Avalanche here. A little bit further down the stretch, Spencer Stastny gets traded to the Oilers, and the Predators get just about nothing for it in return, just more draft picks and what's so not. And, more of the same. However, we get into November, and then they get a big win over the Detroit Red Wings just before Thanksgiving, and then suddenly things begin to shift here. The Predators are winning 2, losing 1, winning 3, losing 1, winning 2, losing 1. A team that was consistently losing now is starting to narrow out at 500 a little bit. Have a massive December where they're winning left and right. They have a massive, huge, ginormous road trip at the end of the year, into the beginning of the year. And, you're getting wins over the Vegas Golden Knights, the Utah Mammoth. You get a thrilling shootout winning game over the Colorado Avalanche, who was a absolute wagon in the beginning of the year, wasn't really losing any games at all. They are a wagon now at the end of the season as the number 1 team in the playoffs. And you're getting into the new year, and suddenly this team is in a wild card spot. This team is in a playoff position. Who would have thought? And good vibes are going around Nashville now. I mean, Steven Stamkos, his game's really picking up. Filip Forsberg has been a beating heart. So is Ryan O'Reilly throughout this entire season. We're seeing so much consistency from them. Nick Blankenberg's really stepping up here. We're seeing Michael Bunting, Eric Hall, Jonathan Marchessault find some consistency on their line here. Luke Evangelista, after all that contract drama we saw in the offseason, he has suddenly earned the name as the dishing magician. He's dishing them out left and right. There's so much good going on for this team right now. And for almost 3 months, this team comes up to the threshold, meets it, goes back, comes back, goes back. And we do this back and forth for 3 months in trials and turbulations of, is this team going to make the playoffs? No. Now, then we get up to the trade deadline. And Barry Trotz kind of has a decision to make of whether this team wants to commit to a rebuild or push harder into the playoffs. They haven't been able to cross this threshold all year. They've come up to it so many times. They have knocked on that door so many times, and it will not open as they take one step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And just at the deadline, a decision comes up, and what do you want to do with this squad? And you know what? Barry Trotz makes the fatal mistake of saying, I want to do both. And you trade off 4 depth pieces. 3 of the 4, I would say, were critical in Nick Blankenberg, Michael Bunting, Michael McCarron. Cole Smith, it is what it is. But they're all upcoming UFAs. But you keep 2, and rumors went around that you were looking to get rid of Holla, but stayed. And the other one is Tyson Jost, which he came in on a off of waivers. So, I mean, yeah, take it as you can with that. But coming to this game against Boston, the team is kind of gutted. You have Andrew Brunette kind of getting choked up in the press conference after the Blue Jackets game, and you bring all this young talent in. You have Ryan Ufko, who has been dying for a chance to play in Nashville, finally gets his chance. Joakim Kamel is back. You have Reed Schaefer up here. Matthew Wood, who's been up here, who was scratched before the Olympics. Forgot about the Olympics as well. This team playing somewhat decent before the Olympics. Get a break, get a pause. Going into the Olympics. I'll recap this part very fast. Eric Halla has a very impressive outing there. So does UC Saros. Filip Forsberg, some controversy about not getting played in the few games there and having his time really limited. Roman Josi just looking great as usual. Eric Halla just being the one that really steps out there, and UC Saros having a good outing. Eric Halla comes back, starts playing very, very well, ups his trade deadline stock a little bit more in that too. But at the trade deadline here, the decision comes down to, I want to do both and bring the future up, but also try to push for the playoffs. And everyone's like, it looks like he's kind of waving the white flag because you have these young guys here. They're not going to supplement this. They're not going to give them the push they need. Predators pull off a 6-3 win over the Boston Bruins, and they keep consistently winning. Finally, they rip off a 5-game win streak in the end of March, and this team is suddenly in a playoff spot. They're finally in wild card 2. They have a chance to chase down the Utah Mammoth in wild card 1. What's going on? This team is in position to be in the playoffs, and it's good times rolling in late March. We're coming right up to the playoff mark, the end of the season here. and you lose 3 straight games. You put 6 points on the table, you take them and you throw them in the trash. Then in these final stretch here, you go and kind of play the 500 game once again. In this stretch, you cannot play that game. You lose a critical game to Los Angeles. You lose what was the deciding game to the San Jose Sharks, who you have not lost to since 2019. And then you lose the final game of the year. Overall, just peaked at the wrong time in March. And that was the story of the Nashville Predators, y'all, in 2025, 2026. I probably left out a lot of details. And you know what? Over these next few weeks, we're not going to have much to talk about. So we're going to be talking about this season a lot more. We're going to be talking about a lot of hot button topics and what so not. But that was my recap off the top of my head of the Predators 2025-2026 season. I've only been covering NHL hockey here full-time for about, this is my second season. I know Vegas was a lot more consistent. It was a fun season. It was crazy. It was all over the place. But I mean, that's what you got to ask for hockey and what you like for sure. So, I mean, it was enjoyable to say the least. But I'm really happy to be here in Nashville. I'm really happy to be covering this team with y'all and enjoying this podcast, writing for the hockey news, getting to know all of y'all, get to know the community, get to knowing the other writers. The season's been great. I'm really looking forward to continuing covering this team with end of the year locker room cleanup coming up soon. And then we're going to have rookie camp and then have a little break here off the draft coming up. So there's still a lot of good things coming up here. Still going to watch the heck out of Stanley Cup playoff hockey. This is the best. But all I want to say, and I guess summing all right now, is I'm very grateful to be in Smashville right now in Nashville and be a part of this because I'm not going to lie, this fan base is a lot of fun to be working with, and this team's a lot of fun to be covering. Obviously, this season's not ending the way you want it to. You want to go into the playoffs a lot more. A little disappointing, bittersweet in that, but a good fan base, a good franchise to be around in my personal regard. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Locked On Predators podcast at Jack G. Williams on Twitter/X. It's where you can find all my stuff, the Hockey News Nashville Predators. You can find all my writing there. You can find any sort of Locked On Predator stuff, LO_Predators on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We're just Locked On Predators. And hey, that Everyday Club, $50 a year, $5 a month, ad-free audio, members-only Discord access. It's all built for our most loyal fans like you guys. Thankful for y'all. Grateful for y'all. We have a lot of fun this season here, and we're going to get into the postseason here. Well, we're not getting into the postseason here. We're getting to the offseason here, and we're going to talk about all of what you guys want to know about building for the future. We got a GM search going on. There's still a lot of news at hand in Preds world. But again, grateful for y'all. Thankful for y'all. And let's do a fun little outro here. I will see y'all next week on more episodes of the Locked On Predators podcast.